The Jets love Sam Darnold. Also, the Jets must replenish the draft picks that they traded away to get Sam Darnold. So you got to trade Bridgewater right now, right? While his value's high, he's an injury risk, he's slightly built. That was the question coming out of college for him. It turned out to be true. Strike while the iron's hot. No. Counterintuitively, no. In fact, Teddy Bridgewater still gives Sam Darnold the best chance to be as good as he can be by holding the clipboard still for a while, learning defenses, becoming more fully ready as Bridgewater takes the helm. Bridgewater, in the meantime, yes, there is an injury risk. Of course there is. This is not without risk. But in the meantime, he can go from, teams suspecting maybe this guy is a franchise player, more than just kind of a starter in the league, low average. Maybe he was an ascending player at the time. Maybe he is a franchise quarterback. He can establish that with the Jets this year, thereby increasing his trade value. But Max, what if the Jets turn out to be good with Bridgewater? Now what do? You don't want to get rid of him. Well, that's a good problem to have. Recall, as recently as last season, the Eagles had a backup that they kept around named Nick Foles, and Carson Wentz put them in a position to have home field advantage through the playoffs, and then Nick Foles helped them win a Super Bowl in Carson Wentz's absence. I think for a variety of reasons, in fact, the Jets should hold Teddy Bridgewater, with plan A being as his value increases, which I believe it will, you can get a better deal for him while Darnold is developing. That should be the plan.
It would not be a mistake to trade Teddy Bridgewater, not a mistake at all. We will agree on one little small portion of this. Would it be wise to hold on to Teddy Bridgewater? Yes, but just for a little bit longer. I'm going to tell you why. Sam Darnold is not just the quarterback of this team. He is the hope and the future of this franchise. Everything about the New York Jets is now tied to the quarterback out of USC. Everything. Every intangible, every season record, every career passing record, every playoff game, everything in that organization is Sam Darnold's. Nothing is Teddy Bridgewater's, and that's the way it should be. They've invested in Sam Darnold. He's already shown them that he has the ability to live up to those lofty expectations. And Teddy Bridgewater, for all the greatness and all the hope, and I hate how these debates turn into this, you must be a Teddy Bridgewater hater. I'm actually a Teddy Bridgewater lover, but I know what his ceiling is. I know what he was when he played for the Vikings. I know he was a pretty average quarterback who did lead his team to the playoffs, and I think he can be better than that quarterback. I think Teddy can be better than who he was with the Vikings, but I don't think he can ever be as good as Sam Darnold's ceiling. So, here's what you do. You recognize that from now until the unseeable future, it's Sam Darnold's team. So that means Teddy Bridgewater is an asset. We have to trade him. Trade him now, perhaps. If somebody sends you a second-round pick, maybe a third-round pick, trade him now. But I think his value will go up a little bit in week 1 or 2. Not because you play him, Max. You sure as hell don't play him. You don't play Teddy Bridgewater, because if you play him, his value can only go down. No. You hang on to him in case somebody else loses their starter. Somebody else gets an injury.
Why would his value only go down if you played him?
You're playing the slim odds that he comes in and blows everybody's minds away, more than the hope that's already been attached to him, Max. There's hopes.
Do you think Bridgewater, hey, this is what it comes down to, Will.
Layered on Bridgewater.
Do you believe Bridgewater is good or not?
Yeah, I do.
Do you believe Bridgewater is good or not? Because I believe he's actually good. I don't believe he's fool's gold, as some quarterbacks are. Maybe Tyrod Taylor, whose talent leads people to believe they're good. They wind up with too many reps, and they can actually, in the long term, be bad as you're waffling, making a decision. I believe Bridgewater is an actually good quarterback. I believe that over time, the more he's on the field, the higher his value goes.
You don't need to take the risk is the point. You might be right. I think Teddy's great as well. But why would you take that risk? It's unnecessary.
I will tell you.
Hold on. And first, I will tell you why what you'll tell me is wrong. It's Sam's team. It's Sam's team. Teddy today has all the hope, the upside, the fairy dust sprinkled all over his future. Everybody believes in Teddy. The only thing that can make his value go higher is need. Somebody else losing their starter. And that may happen. It may happen in the first week of the season. And that's when you trade Teddy. That's the market peak.
Let me explain what you're missing.
And hold on. No. Here's what you're missing. 32nd ranked offensive line in the NFL. You're putting Teddy in a situation thinking his market value is going to go up in a team.
Will, your analysis is correct, but your conclusion is bass-ackwards. Let me explain to you how this works in New York and in particular. Because once upon a time, there wasn't a third overall pick. There was a number 1 overall pick, who the New York Football Giants traded for. The 4th pick, Phillip Rivers, and good stuff, really good stuff, to move up to take Eli Manning. And they had a terrible offensive line. But they had an excellent veteran quarterback named Kurt Warner, who they put behind that offensive line as Eli Manning was learning to basically take licks. By the way, as we all know, Kurt Warner still had plenty left. He was still an excellent quarterback. As it turns out, you could even argue a better, at least regular season quarterback, than Eli Manning for the remainder of his career. And yet the Giants used him as a tackling dummy behind that bad offensive line while Eli Manning got ready, and now Eli Manning has maybe a borderline Hall of Fame career. He's won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. The point is, even if you believe in Sam Darnold like that, which the Jets do, and they may be right, you do not put him behind a bad offensive line in a town like New York City so that the first time he falters, when you have a guy like Bridgewater on the bench, there's not hue and cry about, you gotta bring Bridgewater in. Now you have a quarterback controversy that can only be bad for Sam Darnold. You do not start Darnold, particularly on this team, particularly behind that line, particularly in this town.